Yeah, I don't know why after lunch session was assigned to me. You must be feeling very sleepy. So, first of all, this is a very interactive session. I am not going to give many slides and a presentation. I would prefer it to be as much interactive as possible. Today being HR day, I have not gone into the technicalities or other areas of corporate. I have picked up the issue of HR. It's more of a soft skill issue, but you are free to discuss, debate any other issue. What questions came to my mind, I have tried to put it here. That if I am in your place, what goes through your mind? And I was talking with your principal as well as your managing director. I believe most of you are graduates with a background of a commerce, engineering, and one or two other backgrounds. Now, a question which comes to everybody's mind when he or she takes an admission is, what is the purpose of this admission and what do I want to gain? Now, I have put some questions. I don't know whether you have these questions. It is to fit into an employment or to learn how to grow up, climb the ladders, or to become an entrepreneur. I don't know whether there is any other purpose than to come to a course like MBA. How many of you are in a third category of becoming an entrepreneur? Yeah, I'm glad a lot of hands are being raised. Okay. Now, the skills which you acquire continuously need to be upgraded, but apart from that, most important issue would be the soft skills. I am sure all of you must be eager to know what is that makes somebody successful in any one of these. First is a very short term aim. Second is what most of people who are into service will aim for. And third, very few people, and at least few hands are raised to become an entrepreneur, will aim for. You get a lot of education in terms of subjects, but unfortunately the soft skills are not easily taught or not easily learnt. So I have tried to make an attempt to share with you few of the things which I felt when I was doing my experience with many companies. What soft skills, if somebody would have told me earlier, would have helped. So that is what I have tried to share with you. Before that, maybe some more questions. Okay. The change which you have, if you trace back your graduation period or a school period, there is a major change which takes place once you are into a professional course. And that change, if it is understood, then you would be able to guide yourself into what skills you want to acquire, what other areas of soft skills you need to have. The major difference which takes place, and especially in our kind of a school and colleges, is it's a very guided path. And they tell you when is the exam, they tell you when is the chapter, they tell you what kind of questions are going to come. So I call it as a guided path. There is always a parent or your parents or your teachers to guide you. Now, once you enter into a professional course or a professional corporate world, there is nobody to guide you. And for quite a few entrants, this becomes a big problem. That we all are used to having teachers, parents to tell us what is to be done, and suddenly corporate, when you enter, you are one of the employees assigned to a task, so there is no guide. Officially there may be a mentor and all that, but he doesn't guide as the teachers used to do. There is no syllabus. So this change becomes a difficult to digest change to quite a few entrants. The second area which you would find is you have a very, very wide choice. Even where to enter will depend on what goals you are setting up for yourself. If some of you who raised your hands to become entrepreneur, you would want to take an experience which will help you to become an entrepreneur. So you would have a choice of an industry, you would have a choice of a business, whichever in which you want to become an entrepreneur. Now this choice becomes very, very difficult for a lot of people to adjust. That's a second change which takes place. The third change, which I thought is most important, is what to make a choice is left to you. People start treating you as major, not a minor or a child. Now with that, a lot of responsibility comes to make a choice. Now how you are going to make yourself ready to make such a choices is to start from today. And you make statement to yourself saying that whatever choices I make is made solely by me and I am responsible for the outcome. You have to say that every day morning to yourself to get away from a last 20-22 years very guided tour, very guided path. And believe me, this becomes difficult because we all like to think that I made this choice, even if it has gone wrong, somebody else is responsible. We all are tuned like so. A lot of times I feel very sorry when I talk with an engineer and ask him, why did you choose mechanical engineering? My father told me, my mother told me, my cousin was a mechanical engineer, so I wanted to become a mechanical engineer. Now that liberty is gone, you have chosen to follow this path, and any other choices which you make, you are solely dependent on that outcome, you are solely responsible for that outcome. This takes an immense mental change to look at yourself. I think all of you would know that we like to find when something goes wrong, the dependency on somebody else. That has to stop. Whatever choice you make is yours. Don't think it is very easy. It is one of the most difficult things in Indian society, specifically for male, because he is pampered, he is told to do whatever he feels like, and when something goes wrong, we all have a tendency to say, my father said so, my uncle said so. That is gone. So this is a major change for which you need to gear up. Now let's look at what will help you to do this. Before that, let's see what has been your graduation and what has been given to you by a so-called graduation degree. Ask yourself a very open question. Have you got information or have you got a knowledge? I believe our education system gives a lot of information. It doesn't give a knowledge. In a corporate world, information is of no use. Today with the internet, information is available to anybody. What is needed is how to use that information. That's a knowledge. Now, hopefully in whatever time you spend in educating yourself in this, you will get a lot of exposure, whether that information you are able to process. I was very glad that this institute has a case studies methodology, where information is given and you are supposed to analyze and come out with a what is a knowledgeable output of that. So understand this difference and believe that all your education so far was based on a information giving and probably throwing out that information in 3 hours. So that is no longer useful. So the difference between information and knowledge has to be pretty clear. The third thing is, ask yourself every day a question, whether your years of experience is increasing or you are gaining a new experience every day. I am sure I am clear, but if anybody would like to know the difference, one can say I have a 10 years experience, but is that experience in doing every time something new, something different, or a repetitive? So it's a 1 year experience done 10 times. Then that experience is not going to count. You will have to do different things to gain a real experience. So you will need a knowledge, you will need an experience which can be called as doing different things. That will give you wisdom. And in these case studies, the purpose is to give you different experiences sitting in a classroom. Otherwise, I have met many people who say I have a 10 years experience, but what he has done is a repetitive 1 year experience spread over 10 years. That is not going to help. So these definitions probably we will keep it in mind till we interact. We also need to see the differences between information, skill and knowledge. Skill is something which you are trained to do, but is it something which you are trained to do the best? For which again one has to ask, what is that skill? And whether I have done something, like we saw earlier, that you are responsible for your actions, whether you individually have done something to hone the skills. I believe you have marketing, you have HR, you have finance. Now most of the skills needed would be different, but there would be some soft skills which would be common. When you go into your functional areas, you would definitely pay attention to the functional skills. But whether the skills like how to communicate, most importantly how to listen. We all think hearing is listening, but listening is the most wanted skill today in a corporate world. I don't know, you must be knowing the statistics that if somebody talks with you, you absorb only 30% of what he says. So if you are able to become a good listener, that skill would take you far off. It takes working, it takes paying attention to what is being said. So the skills like this, or take a skill of analyzing in all your functions. Analysis is going to play a major role. Like we said earlier, information is available to everybody. But how the processing of that information is done, that analytical skill is going to take you far. So those skills, every time ask you a question whether you are the best. Those skills will be needed in the corporate world. Those are called as soft skills. Don't go by technologies like PowerPoint and things like that. If you can make a PowerPoint, I think 100 other people can make a PowerPoint. But whether you are able to communicate what you want to say, that is a skill. The second issue which I thought again we will go spend time. Today, it is also important to know where is the information. You may have the information or you may know where it is. Sometimes it also pays to know where is the information. Like whatever is available on internet is available to 100 other people, but if you have information which is not so easily accessible, then that would be your skill, that would be your winning point when moving forward. And as I said earlier also, knowledge is to use this information with wisdom. Information is available, but how to use that? That wisdom is what is the experience all about. So the purpose should be to gain insight into whichever business you are and gain a wisdom, because I also know that domains will be changed by you. So having a domain knowledge is not going to be useful if you change the domain, but using that with a wisdom will give you a skill even if the domain is changed. Okay, I have a video which I thought I will show. Can somebody help me? There is a video file there. Don't put on from the slide, put the separate video file.
There are three things in life that makes the person successful. One is the knowledge the person has, the skills he develops, and the attitude he has. It can be demonstrated by a very simple experiment of balancing the two heavy stainless steel forks on the edge of the glass. One fork represents the knowledge the person has. The another represents the skill a person needs to possess. And then knowledge and skills are individual to the person. They live with him and die with him. They cannot be passed on. But they can be connected to the society or the organization through another agency called as the toothpick. If you can see, the forks are hanging free on the edge of the glass with a toothpick. If you see, 3/4 of the toothpick is outside the glass, a small portion is inside the glass. Now what should happen if I burn the toothpick from inside? Watch carefully. I start burning this toothpick. What normally people expect is, as the toothpick burns, the wood burns and the whole fork should fall down. It would not happen. I can take another matchstick. I'll try to burn it. The inside of the toothpick. Not two. Even if you take 20 matchsticks, it will not burn beyond that. If you observe carefully, the toothpick is balancing on the edge of the glass, which is not even 1 millimeter thick. Two heavy forks are balancing on that. This is most important to us. Your knowledge and skills are important, but what is most important is the attitude which connects you to society and the organization. Among the three things that I have, glass, fork and toothpick. Toothpick is fragile, it can be burnt. That means in your life your attitude is more tested than your knowledge and skills. If your attitude is firm, in spite of being burnt several times, it will not drop your knowledge and skills. Please watch carefully. I slowly lift the glass up now. You can see. Still knowledge and skills are held together by the attitude. Now I push the attitude out. When I push the attitude out, the knowledge and skills also fall down. Therefore, the most important aspect in life for success is not the knowledge, not just the skills. It is the attitude a person carries. Ultimately, that holds him in difficult times and make him successful in good times.
Thank you. We can go back to slides. Anybody would like to comment on that video? I found it very interesting, so I said I will share with all of you. Yeah, sure.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Supratik Sange. I am from Calcutta, West Bengal. So in this video, by seeing this video, we can learn that in life, attitude is the thing that matters a lot. Knowledge, skill doesn't matter anything without attitude.
Not really. knowledge and skills are required, but they are balanced by the proper attitude.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is
So,
Thank you, sir.
I am sure in your generation you say he is showing attitude. It doesn't mean that sentence. Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Monica Shrivastava. Sir, in this video we see the related to attitude and knowledge and skills. But in corporate sector, if I am anyone going to in corporate sector, the motive and the attitude is positive. Sometimes environment is totally negative. That time people what do at that time?
Okay. What the video says is the attitude of a person.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it also says, and it burns a matchstick to show you that environment can be hostile, can be difficult. But if your attitude remains positive, if your attitude remains firm to what commitments you have, if your attitude remains which will help you to utilize your skills and knowledge, then you would succeed. I think you can sit down. The most important point she is raising is maybe there is an environment which is bad. Any corporate tries to believe that the environment is good, and HR there takes some initiatives to make the environment better. But in your entire career, you are likely to face a situation where the people whom you are working with or the other colleagues of yours are not really in tune with what you have. There again, this video tries to display that if you are with a positive mind, you are able to resist that fire. So the most important issue is not to ask what is somebody else's attitude, but to ask what is my attitude. Now, if 10 people like you are having a positive attitude, it is unlikely that the total environment would be bad. So we saw skill, we saw knowledge, and we saw attitude. Now, how to develop that and what is to be done further? Is it moving? Few of the things I have included, which I have picked up, and I thought to create a good attitude, what is that we need to look at? I think this is a perpetual management debate whether you are an optimist or a pessimist. But we forget a lot of time that at least we and this set of people have a privilege to come and people behind you who are able to support it. So once in a while, to thank who made it possible for you to come here, that gratitude, that attitude will help you to go further. I sometimes feel very pity when I meet a person and he starts saying he is self-made. Now, a self-made person, first he has is a gratitude that he couldn't have been where he is unless entire society, his parents, his teachers would have helped him. Now that's attitude. So if you start looking at things in this manner, that I am privileged to be sitting here and going through whatever course your family members have put you in, that is a first step of a developing attitude. We talked about few issues related to success, but we haven't really spent time on what is a success. Anybody who would like to add what is his definition of a success? Sure. Maybe she wants to say something.
if a person achieve their all the goals, I think that is called a success
Sure.
of life.
What is your opinion?
Success is the one which comes with lots of failures.
Lot of
Failures.
failures. Okay. But what is a success? Yeah, sure. I think he wants to say something.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Nilesh Piraris. I'm from Nasik, Maharashtra. Success is when you work in the field of your passion and when you work in the field of what is your talent. So you will get success there.
Okay. Anybody else? Sure.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Umang and I am from Bokaro Steel City, Jharkhand. Sir, success for any person is that desired output when he obtains by being committed to his work.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. I think.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Akanksha. This line I have read it today only. Success is like a lover who leaves you whenever they want to. And failure is like a mother who teaches the important lessons of life.
Okay. I think we can stop, or somebody else wants to comment. Fine.
My name is Aditi Jadhav. Sir, success is like one of our faculty from my hometown said, a state when we are emotionally stable, socially acceptable, financially sound, and personally fulfilled.
Okay. I would like to share with you a story about success. There is a sculptor who is very quietly doing his work of hitting this very large stone, and he is making a statue of a goddess. So another person goes by and he sees him very busy, and the statue is very tall. I think it's around 120 feet, and next to that there is a statue which was broken. So this fellow becomes a little curious and he says, "Why did you break that?" So he said, the eyes of a statue were not to the perfect level where I wanted. So that person says, it is a 120 feet. Who would have observed it from the ground whether the statue is perfect or not? He says, outside world perfection doesn't matter. It should look perfect to me. Then only I will call this statue as successful, even if I have to do it 10 times. So, and the question which I raised, and it's a very detailed subject, I will not dwell into it too much, but success is something which I think this gentleman said that based on the passion, if you get a perfection and you are happy at the end of it, that is a success. But what do we rate today as a success? Is the comparatives. He is at that level, I am here, his increment is more, my increment is less, his package is a little bigger than my package, and we start making a vestige of the success which you have achieved. Now here it is little beyond, it is talking. It is saying that you should have a long-term path for your success. Now you are at a stage where you don't know which company you are going to work. You don't know what kind of field you are going to get. So it would be difficult for you to say what is the professional success. But definitely there is a goal for a personal success. So what is a personal success? Is that you would improve on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas in your entire personality by the time you finish this course. If you do that, apart from your academic success, If that is the norm which you put yourself, you would get one more dimension to make a success, which is called as personal success. So please identify whatever areas you feel you need to improve. All of us need to improve in many areas. But the self-realization of which all areas you need to improve, and take that as a 2 years goal and call it as a personal success. The rest of the success will follow. I thought this is also very interesting. I want to ask a very simple question. When do you feel happy? Is when somebody tells you you have done something nicely, when somebody appreciates what you have done. But how little appreciation we give it to others. If we start looking at that, that's a part of our attitude. Even when somebody opens a door for you or somebody gives you a glass of water, we say as if it is a habit, thank you. But there is no real warmth in that. And to me, when I select people, I find whether he is having a warmth in him, empathy in him to relate with others. Now that is a soft skill which again you can improve, but you must first appreciate and understand that it is lacking or it is required to be improved. Now, why we don't do more innovative things? Why do we not talk what is right? Is because of our fears. I think one or two of you would have a stage fright, stage fear. Why? Is because we fear a lot of other people will laugh at me. So that's my fear. That you will never overcome if you don't experiment, if you don't innovate. So internal fears is another demon which we have to fight. If you don't decide what are your internal fears, you will not make an attempt to overcome it. Maybe it is something related to talking in the class, maybe it is related to whether my answer is right, whether my entire group is analyzing a case in a different manner, I feel totally different, then I fear that everybody will laugh at me, so I won't say maybe you are right, and many more. So internal fears is what will help you to conquer yourself. Challenge yourself every day to overcome a small fears. That will help you to build up an attitude, that will help build you, make you bring your knowledge and skills together. It doesn't mean you need to become arrogant. Now these internal fears is what have kept many people, even though their ideas were very good, not come forward. How to do it, how politely you can do it is again a skill. But lot of us don't cross the milestone because we have some unsaid fear in our mind. Fight with that. Your day will go very well if at the beginning of the day you decide that these are the fears I want to overcome. And if I do that at the end of the evening and I say fine, that would be the happy day, that would be a successful day. Now these kind of small soft skills is what distinguishes a person from another, which is very difficult to identify that he has and he doesn't have. but everybody knows within himself what he has and what he doesn't have. You would find I have picked up a lot of quotations because I thought that should give us a platform to discuss. We tried to define a success earlier. A lot of fears get developed because of the initial failures. And the biases which we have in our mind. We have number of biases in our society, starting from what we observe in our childhood, what our parents say, what our society say. Like for example, a girl cannot become a traveling sales engineer is a bias, which I am sure many young engineers have broken. But like this, we have many biases which lead us to failures, which lead us to take away from what is good for us. So your struggle is not with anybody else. Your struggle is with yourself to improve your skill, attitude, personality. All these small things add to your personalities. Believe in this sentence throughout your life. Sometimes we associate our value to what others look at us. And we decrease our own value because they have a less value for us. I am sure each one of you is unique. Each one of you have their own way to move forward. But somewhere along the line, we start comparing, we start going by the comments given by others, and then we decrease our own value. Once our own value decreases in our own eyes, it has a cyclic effect. We looked at that statue story. He could have easily faked the perfection. Nobody else would have noticed, but he was very honest to himself. So if you decide that perfection in what I do is what is needed, not by society, not by my boss, but me, and that should become your habit. Difficult path, but very, very rewarding to yourself. Anybody wants translation of this? You are all young, so your enthusiasm will make you do many things. Your determination will decide what you want to do, and your experience will get it done from you what is required to be done. So distinguish between what you want to do, what somebody else is asking you to do. Why I am saying this is, when you enter a corporate world, your job description would be given on 1 or 2 pages. But to gain good experience, you will have to go beyond that job description. Then your experience will start getting counted. If you decide that this is where I will go by specifications, this is what is told to me, I will do only this much, you will gain a very limited experience. And once you spend couple of years, the distinction between one person to another is not based on how he does the one particular task repeatedly, but how much more he has known in the job. I want to leave you with this very simple thought, that what troubles us maximum is not what goes outside. What goes within our mind troubles us maximum. We are the culprit to say that we can't do this, we can't do this, we have a fear, this is not good. So if you are able to control this and decide the path on a skill, attitude and knowledge, corporate world will welcome you. Okay, now I am towards end of my discussions with you. I thought there is a very interesting phases in your corporate thing. One, I call it as a formative phase, where your learnings should be more important to you than your earnings, because this phase is not going to come back again. The second phase is a determination of what you want to do and gaining an experience of a overall perspective of what you decided to do. And the third is to look at a little larger vision and to take into something which will make you special. So these three phases should be clear when you enter a corporate or entrepreneurship. These are applicable even for there, because initial years in an entrepreneurship or in a corporate are going to be most difficult. You have to prepare yourself for that. Thank you so much. Any other questions anybody has? As I said in the beginning, I had not gone into the details of how corporate works and all that, because I thought these soft skills which you need to gain by yourself are more important for me to convey than to tell you how corporate one function works or other works. That is, many people are coming, I believe, to discuss that with you. Finished? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful session. We got to know that management is nothing more than motivating other people to do that. There is something in the nature of tea that leads us into a world of quiet contemplation of life. So let's take a tea break and be back. Thank you.